Hello guys, welcome to the Legless Tripod podcast with myself, Tom Thane, Ellie Taylor and Ben Keir. This week we watched The Sound of Metal starring Riz Ahmed and Olivia Cook. I personally thought it was a very good film. I thought it was top tier. What about you, Ben?
Yeah, it was really good. I haven't watched a film recently that's come out proper recently that I felt kind of emotionally tapped into as much as this one. I feel like I really sympathized for the main character and even the other characters. I find it weird how I sympathized for more than just one character in the film. But but yeah, a lot of films that have come about recently just haven't lived up to that, and this really did. So well done.
What about you, Ellie?
Same. I mean, I haven't had time to process it yet, so I haven't had time to process it, so I don't know why I enjoyed it. I just know I really, really did. And I think what Ben was saying, you do really sympathize with the main character and you get really emotionally involved so early on. I think the people are likable, but it's not too likable. It's just really good. I would really recommend it from the get-go.
Yeah. It's, I say less, for me personally, it was less of an emotional distress and more of just really, really painful to watch because you do sympathize with, everything that he's going through in that moment. And it was just really, really hard to watch at first. Yeah, straight away.
Here's a quick summary of the film. The main character, Ruben, played by Riz Ahmed, is a heavy metal drummer in a band with his girlfriend, played by Olivia Cook. And basically, he starts going deaf because drumming is very loud, as we're all aware. And it's quite a few drummers get tinnitus and everything. And he gets proper tinnitus and goes completely deaf. And it's the story of how he kind of deals with going deaf when music is his passion and the way he's lived his life up until now. And it's quite a sudden loss of hearing. And he's kind of shoved all about the place. He's sent to this this program for deaf people so he can learn sign language and everything and kind of live with the reality of no hearing. And yeah, he kind of
He doesn't accept it at first, though, does he?
No, he has to come to his own compromise of life and find how he can live with being deaf on his own, I feel. And that's the whole story of it, and that's why the ending's so effective, because it's him choosing his own path while still doing what he should do, kind of thing.
He was kind of forced into it by his girlfriend as well, because she just upped and left. Didn't really give him any opportunity to do anything else but that, really.
But he did, and I think that was a good decision. Okay, so there was one scene when he first learns he's deaf. He goes to the doctors, and the doctors are like, you can't play drums. And then it immediately cuts to him playing the drums at a show. And my heart just dropped. So realistically, when he was going on about how he still wanted to do the shows and the tour, to me it just seemed like denial. And I think him going into realizing he was deaf and not playing the shows, anything else would have been so irresponsible. So I think that was a fair decision from her part. She did it for his best. He was being delusional.
Yeah. I think he, because you learn about his addictive past, his, the personality that he's got. And I think that plays into why is the way he is, because he, after being told that he shouldn't play drums again, he does it straight away. That shows his addictive personality and the kind of person that he is. And you see that more in the film as it goes on. And then I think even afterwards, when he goes and has the surgery to get his hearing back, that's another symbol of his addictive personality, because he doesn't want to accept what's happened. He just wants it to get better. But obviously he can't do that because his hearing's never going to come back again, and he's just not accepting that. He's in denial, really.
I think that's a really good point, because as well, we're probably going to jump around the film, but on the point where you said he gets his hearing back, I thought, because there's a sequence when he's with the deaf community, he first hates it and is very anti it, but then he ends up getting into it, and you're I thought those scenes were so cute. He makes friends with a little buddy, but it's not cringy child actor. It was super sweet. But then he still gets the surgery, So you kind of like, as you were saying, you see that mindset and you see that like the community, he doesn't like, realistically, it's not a distraction, but you can see his like true priorities, which are slightly like
Yeah.
twisted. And I think that really falls into what you were saying, Tom, which is interesting.
I think it was definitely like influenced by the internet, the access to internet, which the guy Paul Reishi at the start, he was like taking his phone away, he was taking his keys for his car away and everything, and I think that was everyone watching it is like, that's a bit extreme. It's not like it's not like a cult, is it? And obviously
That's
at first you're a
normal
bit.
rehab.
I know, but
Yeah, but this
he's
isn't rehab. This
Yeah,
is
exactly.
just
Yes,
learning
it
to
is. No,
accept
it's
your...
rehab for deaf people.
Well,
But
it doesn't
you
explicitly
would-
say that.
It does
don't-
say that.
When does
but
it?
you don't
It literally
assume.
says it's rehab for deaf people because he says this is a facility for people with addiction, and that's why he goes there, because she's worried that he's gonna fall back into heroin, and then they're like, for people who are deaf.
Okay.
I swear it
still-
does.
This is another Elspeth has seen something that we haven't.
No,
It
no, I
literally
think
said
I
it in
think
the
I do
dialogue.
agree with her. I do agree with her. It did say something along those
just
lines.
me then.
But I don't know. It's also just, it still seems a bit extreme to take away his phone, because I don't know. I see what you mean. I was a bit
No,
like,
because
it did feel like a cult at first, and I know a lot of
Yeah, it
rehab
did.
is kind of has similar tropes in that way, but I think then you start to realize when he does start to almost relapse into his old life, like he's getting used to being at the program, and he's making friends, and he's really getting on with everyone, and they're like, you're really worthy in our community. I'm slurring so much I can barely speak. Right, hold on. And my point is, then he looks on the emails, and every time he checks the emails, he goes back into a state of like regretting coming here and wanting to get out as soon as he starts thinking about his ex. And I think I don't know if you guys got it, but I kept on thinking life would be so much easier if he didn't have that past life behind him. He'd be able to stay there. He'd probably, I don't know, even formed some relationship with the teacher woman, because they seemed like they were getting on well.
They hinted at that, didn't they?
But like, it was very much like you had to properly see why the internet was bad. I keep on calling it the internet. I feel like an old person.
You're like, you had to see why the internet was a scary place. Is that what you got from this story, Ben?
Yeah. No, it kept on dragging him back, and so you kind of understand that he had like an addiction to his old life, the life where he had hearing. So it was all like, yeah, addictive personality in that sense.
I totally. I was gonna say, I don't think like it was a girlfriend that was bad. I think it was his old life, because first he like wanted to quit, and he got this message. He gets this message from her. She's like, "Please stay there. Be brave for me. The more you're brave, the better it makes me feel." So she stays there. But then he notices the second time that she's playing shows in Paris, and that's the thing that like he was doing so well. He had this like cute little kid who he started drumming with again. He made friends, and that was the thing for him to like sell everything, secretly get this surgery. And I think it was just like, I don't even think it was her that did it. I think it was just like the life, and like I don't know if that's related to like, I don't know. Basically, I thought I ran out of things to say, so I'm not going to say anything more because I'm going to sound fucking stupid.
No, I'd agree. Like, that's what set him off when he watched that video, and then it sort of took him on that path back to really wanting his hearing again, and then that's why he sold the van and then paid for his surgery and things. But I thought when we were in the rehab, I'll call it rehab, even though I don't think it is rehab.
Let's say deaf community.
Okay, deaf community. I've totally forgot my point.
Sorry.
Bear with me a second. Oh, it's coming.
Apparently, if you clench your fist, it helps you remember things. Like, Tom's just decided to leave. He's
Yeah,
out.
Tom's actually just left. He's
No,
starting to punch
I'm thinking,
things.
hold on, we can cut this. Sorry,
Tom,
I'm really
he's,
sorry.
he has his head in his hands and he's literally looks so depressed. We've broken him. Congratulations, everyone. We've broken Tom.
Can I make a point in the meantime?
That's it.
No.
Cool.
When we were in the deaf community, we totally left his girlfriend behind. So like I know we were following Ruben, and he didn't have access to the internet, or he did if it was very limited, so he could only see it like once or twice every so often. But the film just left her behind totally. We didn't see anything about her, and I questioned it. I was like, well, why would they not show us it? Because when we went to Paris at the end, she was a completely different person. There was no punk in her at all. She changed her hair, and then they even accepted that the band wasn't going to happen anymore when they were in that final scene when they were together. So it's like we totally forgot about her, and it's like, did she care about him anymore? It just brought up more questions for me, even though it was a good way to plot out the narrative. It just seemed a little bit strange.
I did make note at the start that it weirdly kind of focused on, I think her character was Lou. It weirdly focused on Lou quite a lot at the start, like camera-wise. There was a lot of when they were saying goodbye, they were hugging and everything, and all the camera just focused on her face, and it was all her emotions. And it seemed like almost as if that start of the film was from her point of view, and then she was gone. And it did feel weird how much it focused on the supporting character. I wanted to see what he was feeling at that point.
I didn't think we saw a lot of Ruben's personality up until at least a quarter of the way through the film, which I thought was really odd.
Felt like we were observing him.
It was strange. Yeah.
I mean, I thought it was like, to be fair, when he first goes to like the community rehab, deaf community, like 40 minutes in, and I remember thinking to myself, because I quite liked her character, I was like, are we not going to see her again? But then that's an interesting point of view from her like viewpoint and stuff. But it could also be because like he was so, I think especially at the end you realise how in love with her he was. So maybe the focalization on her, this is so film studenty, but the focalization of her was on like the focalization because he had so much like love for her and stuff. And also I think in the deaf community he started to slightly, because at the end she outgrows him. Well, she don't outgrow him, people just move apart. And then I think he was potentially starting to as well, and that him checking the emails and seeing her performing just kind of made him regress a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got a question for Tom. Tom, if you were in a heavy metal band with me, and then I went deaf, and then you went back to Chorley, and then I turn up, and I'm like, I want to start the band again. Would you say yes?
Wait. Are you still deaf?
No, I've got hearing implants.
And you don't know their
So
shit.
it's shit.
You don't
I
know
don't know
their
their
shit.
shit. Because I was never told.
Yeah, because you can't hear me.
Well, then I would be under the guise that you were all back to normal again, and probably say yeah, and then you would just be carrying out that lie that your hearing is good until.
That's discrimination.
Huh?
So you're only going to start a band with someone if they have good hearing?
All right, I don't know what
Okay,
on earth.
I've got another variable. What if you'd
Go on.
learnt French?
I don't need to learn it.
S'il vous plaît.
Je prends la voiture à la gare. What did I just say?
Something about prawns.
What did you say, Ben?
I think I said I'm taking the car to the train station, but I'm not entirely
what?
sure.
That's a very dramatic sentence.
Aventure.
But yeah,
La prawn?
Anyway, we have got off topic, and I would like to bring up another point about what worked in the film.
go ahead.
The sound design. I know we were going to talk about
Fucking
this anyway,
amazing.
but
deserves.
Like, it is absolutely no wonder it won an Oscar, because the way that it represented the loss of hearing, and then you could only hear muffled things or vibrations, and then with the implants, he could only hear like really, digitized sources, which made there was no bass because he had no eardrums. I just thought that was incredible, absolutely amazing.
When you said that, literally the first thing I thought, this is going to sound so Valley Girl, but I just love this film. But it's also, more film students now, it was like every choice. So basically, you swap in between hearing his point of view when he's deaf and like the realistic sound, and hearing his, like, once he gets the implant. And it's like so juxtaposed, and every choice is so thought out. It just really puts the message across, and really like is so effective with what they wanted to do.
I got really annoyed personally at how we never really, we might have a couple times, but not enough for me. We never really got to see from his point of view accompanying his, like, what he's hearing. It would always be shots of him reacting to what he's listening to with what he's hearing, kind of thing. And so, like, one scene that really got to me was the scene where Lou was playing piano. Lou's dad was playing piano, and she was singing. They were singing that song, and I was like, I really want to hear this song from his point of view. I want to hear how different it sounds. And then it cut to him, like, and back, and then it cut to him and back, and it was just normal audio. And then it cut back to him, and then for the final shot, it's a shot of him kind of slowly zooming in on him, and you start to slowly, it fades into the audio that he's hearing. And it just kind of annoyed me that we couldn't see. I wanted to see them playing it and singing while hearing the audio accompanying that. I don't know why, but I just wanted to see it from his perspective completely. And we never really got that. It was always just shots of him reacting. It was always reaction.
I feel like maybe the decision was that if we do that, then we might be, because it was quite painful to watch what was happening and have the bad, his hearing in like as the audio, and so I think maybe the decision was, I can only guess, but I think maybe it was, if we put this on too much, then the audience are just going to be turned off. Almost like when in The Office there's too much cringe. If there's too much bad audio in this, then it's going to turn us off. Now that's a bad analogy, but you get my point.
I feel like it's maybe was because, like, firstly, I feel like one great thing this film did, this is all relevant to this point, but it's like it built your anticipation of what was going to happen, and you saw, like, when they started singing, you just knew something was going to go wrong. You knew something was up. And I also think the fact it lasted for so long, but they only showed a little bit, it kind of was, it like had more impact, because you firstly had the impact expectation song was going to go wrong, and then also the fact you had to sit through the whole song and you understood it, then you heard him like not understand it. The length of it and being able to hear it and last so long really upped how bad you felt for him and like how horrible it was once you heard it. And I think that would have been taken away if you heard him the entire time.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I don't know if I found it funny or if I found it interesting how they did it, but obviously the first scene with them rocking out, I'm just going to sound like a granddad for the rest of this, for the whole of this podcast. The first scene,
that's all right, Ben,
where
a granddad.
They're rocking out and, punking it. It was really kind of like heavy metal, and that was very much got across, and it was very screamy. And then the contrast between that scene and the very next scene, where in the morning he's making like these nice smoothies with all this healthy stuff, and he wakes her up with little gentle taps on her arm and face, and it's all like quite quaint, and he calls her poops and stuff like that. And I found it quite like interesting, and it was obviously to kind of take away the fact that they're not like heavy punk rockers, they're just normal people. Quite
What?
They're quite like a cute kind of mundane couple, while also their music is quite like heavy and rocky-ish. And so I think it was a nice contrast to put forth, just for everyone on on the headphones, everyone listening, Tom and Elspeth are
That would
currently
be
messaging them each other.
Well, I received an important text, and I'm being blasted in the chat
Can you read the
Anyway.
important
by
text out?
Elspeth.
Yeah, let's see.
It's rather personal.
I know.
Okay.
I was joking. I'm not going to do that to you, Tom.
Ben, that's so funny. Like, it's
see what I
weird.
mean?
Your comment, no, your comment was literally, it was weird. They were rocking out, and then it cut to the next scene, and it turns out they were actual humans. Like, kids don't just bite each other's ears off all the time. That was so weird to me.
But,
I think-
but
What?
I agree.
You
I
see what I
agree
mean?
because one of my notices they weren't very punk people. She changed totally when she went home.
No, she changed
Yeah.
so fucking much. It was crazy.
I know. And then like I know he was a bit of a rocker, but he put on blues music when they got up in the morning. It's a bit
Yeah.
like,
I
It's
thought
very
they were
realistic in the
so
sense
cute.
that, like, the majority of artists in the music industry are nothing like what they proclaim to be in their music. I feel that's quite a generic thing.
yeah.
But it's not shown in
that's
films.
Apt. That's apt.
I also feel like they were just like realistic people, and they were really cute together. But it was just so realistic, and like the moments they chose to portray were so true. But also, I have a note about this is mean, but I have a note about that scene, Ben.
Which scene?
Do you want to hear it?
What, the morning scene?
The opening scene
The opening scene.
when they're like rocking out.
When they're punking it.
Yeah, when they're punking it, when they're doing their dues. This is so mean. I really like this girl, and I really like the film. And this is like the first note I wrote, and I said TV, and I just knew it was about a film about a guy who goes deaf. And I wrote, TBH, if I had to listen to that singer, I'd go deaf too.
Jesus Christ! I don't know
She
if
was
I can
really
leave that
not
in the
good.
book.
Maybe it's. I
No.
know. Maybe it's just not my music.
Yeah, I
but
don't
it's
think
like,
it
it's
is.
Very,
No.
very different to her speaking voice. Because I like
No.
punk music and I like hard metal and stuff.
I
But
don't
that
know.
was just
do?
like.
That was more
different.
screamer, wasn't it? That was more screamer.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not big
Very
on the genre.
demony.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't like the music either. I'm just an innocent bystander here. I'm not going to comment on her singing abilities.
I liked his fucking. Shut up. I liked his drumming. He was such a talented drummer. Did he learn how to drum or did
Yeah.
he already know how
He
to
learned
drum?
for the role.
And sign language.
Yeah,
He did so well. I can imagine him really blowing up because he was so good.
he's
Well,
got to
Ben
blow
said
up.
this.
He's got to blow up.
Yeah.
I really want to see like some big directors working with him. I want to see the Safdie brothers work with him. That would be my dream. That'd be everything for me. I would just be
What
like,
about
this is
him
it.
and Robbie P and the Safdie brothers?
Oh, that would be amazing. A sequel to Good Time 2. Ooh,
You love Good Time.
it's so fun.
I've never even watched it.
I've never watched it.
You're both losers. I'll make you both watch it when you're both
mean-
around.
Okay, I'll watch it with you. I'm not going to disagree with the loser point, but I feel like sometimes there are some films you have to be in the mood for, and I feel like that's a film. It's like Uncut Gems. I feel like will have to have a lot of like energy and resistance to my emotional self, and normally I don't have energy, Benjamin.
Yeah,
What
fair
am I
enough.
supposed to do there?
I understand your point. Welcome to the games round. Today we are playing ad libs with film narrative plots that we're then going to have to create for you on Patreon one day. I'm joking. I don't know if that's a joke. Maybe we will. Maybe we won't. Who knows? If you know the game ad libs, then you'll know what we're doing. If you don't, just a quick summary. I'm going to ask them to fill in the blanks by asking them for nouns, verbs, animals, names, whatnot. And they're going to fill in the blanks of a story that I've written. And I'm going to read it out at the end, and they're going to see the beautiful narrative that they have manufactured by just saying words at me. So let's get
So
started.
wait.
Oh,
Can I ask a
let's not get
question?
started. We have
I've got
questions.
two questions here. How does this go? We are not going to know what you've written so far. We just have to tell you a noun,
Yes,
an adjective, and an adverb. Right? Okay.
indeed. That is
My
the case.
question is, do they have to be film words or are they just totally random words?
Totally random. Totally random.
Okay,
Shall we get into
Cute.
this?
let's get into it.
The first one I just created. It's just random, and the second one is actually based on a film that we all know quite well. So let's get started with the first one first. So can someone give me a name? Just give me a name.
Tommy Mysterious T.
Bloody hell.
Why bloody hell? Is that a lot to
'Cause
write out?
that's
for
a
you?
lot of writing.
Do you
for
know how
the
to spell
space that I've got.
mysterious?
Yes,
I
I
was
do.
literally thinking, how do you spell it?
There's 3 I's in it.
And 1X.
Yeah.
Yep. Thank you guys. Can you give me a location?
Surely.
This is literally going to be Tom's just like life story.
Well, you said my name.
Can you give me an animal?
Leopard.
Donkey.
I was
Take
actually
your
going to ask for 2 animals, so I'll take both of them.
Ooh.
I spelled leopard actually.
Leo.
Um,
Pard.
Leo. Is that O?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Leo.
Okay, cheers. And donkey. Can you give me a plural object?
Scissors.
Oh, that's a good one.
And
Oh no, because then it's going to be like leopard scissors something.
Elspeth.
Do I have to give one?
Yep. Can you give me a verb?
Jamming.
Okay. And Tom, can you give me a verb?
Running.
God.
That is that. That is the end. Do you want me to read this one to you first, or do you want me to do the second
Yeah.
one? Okay, we'll
I
read
want
this
to
one.
hear it.
Okay. I'll put my narrator voice on.
Oh, is it David Attenborough-esque?
No, it isn't at all.
Oh.
There once. You just
Pretty
put David Attenborough.
Attenborough.
You put David
You
Attenborough in my
literally
head.
just did it.
That was so weird. There once was a creature named Tommy Mysterious T that lived in Chorley. It was half leopard and half donkey, and lived on a strict diet of only pandas and scissors. The creature liked to jam with politicians on weekdays and run with Tom Thane on weekends.
Wait.
Can we just point out that you said like to? You didn't even ask for us to say politicians.
Yeah, that was already in there. You like to jam with politicians.
Already in there.
Yeah, so I asked for a name and you gave me Tommy Mysterious T.
Oh.
He's just
And
that
then
talented. Maybe it's Tom's
I'd already
alter
written
ego.
Tom Thane into the thing. I should have noticed that.
Well, Tommy Mysterious T is not Tom Thane, so.
Should we move on to the second ad lib round, shall we?
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
how do we decide a winner?
There isn't winners, just drink.
All right. Yeah.
Okay, this is based off a classic film that we all know and love.
Is it The Wizard of Oz?
No.
No.
Tom Thane, can you give me a description, please?
Description.
Yeah.
Excruciating. I don't know. What do you mean by description?
That'll do.
All right.
Elspeth, I need a number.
Okay. 14.
Okay. And Tom, I need an occupation.
Delivery driver. I blanked. Sorry.
Elspeth, can I get a treasured object, like something that people like to keep?
Like your granddad's like vase with his ashes in. What's it called? An urn.
I'll put Granddad's ashes.
Granddad's. Okay.
This has gone weird.
And the fact he's a delivery driver, this is already a recipe for disaster.
Tom, can I get a descriptive word again?
Descriptive.
Actually, no, I'll go to Elspeth for this. Elspeth,
Okay,
descriptive
okay.
word.
Alright.
Okay. I want to try and think of like a good one, but I might try and think of a really cringy one. Okay, what about, this is so embarrassing. Someone, if you see me on person, shoot me on fucking sight. But like, do you guys remember when you were kids and you would say schmexy?
No,
Okay.
but continue.
Okay.
Do you know how to spell it?
Yes, I know how to spell Smexy.
That's
Oh god.
embarrassing.
That's
No.
everything. That's everything, by the way.
Oh.
Okay. Now this this story is a alternate version of Fantastic Mr. Fox.
God.
It's titled it's titled The Excruciating Mr. Fox. The excruciating Mr. Fox, bored with his current life, plans a heist against the 14 local delivery drivers.
It's a big task.
The delivery drivers, tired of sharing their granddad's ashes with the Smexy Fox, seek revenge against him and his family.
That's disgusting.
I hated reading that, to be fair.
You came up with it.
Elspeth, for the audience, Elspeth has banned us from talking about the Oscars unless we're talking about
I
Nomadland.
haven't. No, I
You
haven't. I said
explicitly
you can
banned
talk
us.
about it if you want to.
She said she'd
Go
kick us off
ahead,
the podcast.
Benjamin.
Yeah,
Go ahead. Well,
Um,
Tom's already kicked us off.
Well, I do have one comment. I think Riz
Okay, go
Ahmed
ahead.
was fucking robbed. He deserved an Oscar for that performance. He's deserved one for he's deserved awards for the majority of his roles, I'd say. But this
Do you know?
was pretty
Wasn't he in
peak.
Venom?
Okay, not that. We'll ignore
Well,
that.
hold
We'll
on,
ignore
hold on.
that.
Do you know what I think? I really couldn't care less. Like, who's asked about the Oscars anymore? I watched it last year. Parasite won, and that felt amazing. It was like this. Is it Korean film? You know, never happened before. It won loads of Oscars. It was great. I watched it live. This year, it's been a weird year, granted, but I just didn't really care. You know.
I feel like this is very off topic, but I kind of got, apparently the Oscar viewership was the lowest it's ever been. And I must have watched it with you last year, Tom. I think the Oscars are good to watch if you care about film and you're with other people.
Yeah.
But then I also think because of the pandemic, like a lot of people don't care about celebrity culture anymore.
Also, though,
I'm-
it's
I
also
completely
possibly because of the
agree.
films that have come out. There have been a
Yeah.
lot less films come out this year, and although to be fair, yeah, actually, I'm going to say to be fair for a third time. To be fair, the ones that were up for runnings of the Best Picture weren't particularly as insanely good as Parasite. Like Nomadland in comparison was nothing compared to Parasite.
Pales really, doesn't it?
I think Nomadland was more of a best cinematography than best picture. I found it a bit weird that
But
it
even
wasn't
then,
on. It was.
even then, no. The only reason
Would you-
I feel like you're saying cinematography is because there were some beautiful landscapes, but in terms of how it used, you know, the techniques and you know the massive topic that cinematography is, I don't think it really touched upon, you know, the surface of the iceberg of what cinematography is. I sounded so pretentious saying that, but
I think it was just the surface of the iceberg, and I'm not sure if that makes sense. Isn't it the tip of the
tip
iceberg?
of the iceberg.
Sorry, I mean.
Does it matter? Is it the same thing?
No.
It
Yes.
sounds
I was
so
gonna ask
pretentious
you
when you
guys.
say surface of the iceberg, Tom.
All right, well, lay off. All right.
I was gonna say, I don't know. I also think maybe some of the draw of the Oscars for like, is like the costumes and the celebrity interactions. I say costumes, the outfits and celebrity interactions, and obviously there wasn't that as well. But I was
Yeah.
gonna say, would you recommend Nomadland? I haven't seen it yet, but I know you two have.
It's for a very not specific audience, but you have to you have to like slow cinema, and you have to
Yeah.
appreciate the artistic value of life, and also like you just gotta want to watch a film of that kind, which sort of deals with
Yeah.
the, I want to say anti-capitalist, but that's not it. I don't know. Ben, what's your take?
Yeah. I mean, I went into it thinking, oh, this is going to show me such a romanticized version of this life, and it's going to make me want to go and live in a van. But it didn't. It
I
was
really
quite
wanna
well
live in a
balanced.
van.
It was quite well balanced. It shows you the bad parts of the life. It shows you the good parts of the life. And I think it taught a lot of like really beautiful lessons about life. Like there was a lot of really nice parts where the actors that were actually living that life were talking about just life in general, and I think it said some really beautiful things um, about the whole life thing, you know. And
Have you? Sorry, go ahead.
Uh,
I didn't
I-
interrupt.
I did feel quite touched, but at the same time, I think the cinematography was amazing. I think Tom's wrong, but maybe that is it's down to the. Realistically, it's less the cinematographer, more the location scout. Shout out to whoever was the location
Yeah.
scout on that, because that was
Absolutely.
fucking beautiful locations they
Oh,
found,
incredible.
and that's what kind
Um,
of draws you into the life, I suppose, of nomads. So, yeah, that's
But
my
also-
comments.
There are actually, in fact, a lot of people that really disliked the film because it was not mockumentary, but it was sort of documentary style. It had loads of real people's tales in there, and it tells a story about a very real town that fell, and very real lifestyle of living in a van. And there were people that said that, is it Frances McDonald? Is that her name?
Frances McDormand.
McDormand.
Yeah.
You know, she, excuse my French, she shit in a bucket, once. And it was all fake. But people have to do that every day. And
Depending on
it's
their
sort
bowel
of like-
cycle, yes,
yes, maybe even more than once a day.
maybe.
But, so a lot of people said it was not hypocritical, but it just sort of didn't really touch the real nature of being a nomad, if you'd like
Yeah.
to call it that.
It was an attempt
Yeah.
at showing that lifestyle, and it didn't fulfill it in its entirety, I think. It's Crazy Notes. Welcome to Crazy Notes. Oh, Tom's going to do a different jingle.
It's Crazy Notes.
Elspeth, give me a crazy note. What you got?
And my notes my notes are as ridiculous as always. My first note is bleached hair, buddy, because I have bleached hair and I have bleached my eyebrows, and the guy has bleached hair, and Olivia Cook has bleached eyebrows, which is also kind of cute. They're like bleached together, but
You're kinda like
I
their
also
child.
matching. I would fucking take that so quickly.
To live
But yeah,
in a
so I
van.
wrote down beach. I want to actually. I'm not even kidding. I want to live in a van so badly. Okay, this is like the most gentrified van living ever. But New Zealand in a van. Australia in a
haven't
van.
you already been to New Zealand?
On your gap
Yeah.
year.
Oh my god.
Gap year.
Yeah, I have.
I went to Germany
but
for a week and then
I
failed.
My crazy note is written quite poetically. It's got a lot of meaning behind it. I think you'll all resonate with this. Ear devices are like the eyes for hearing.
I hate you.
My reasoning?
He said this when watching it.
I think I'm right in my reasoning. I'm not actually sure if what I'm saying is true. But you know how like
I
ears
think it's true.
ears have like eardrums in them, like actual real ears.
Whoa, what is this, a
Um,
science lesson?
That's like really good perception of sound having eardrums. And then
Yeah.
eyes, I believe Oh, am I thinking of cameras? I think
Have
I'm thinking
cones.
of cameras.
You're
No,
thinking.
eyes
Okay,
have
I'm gonna
cones
explain an eye to
in-
you. I
in-
actually
in the
know
back of the
something about
retina.
eyes.
And
So
that's how
eyes
we
have
perceive colour.
Yeah, no, eyes have a lens, and the light goes through into the lens, and then it goes into cones and
Yeah.
this other thing in the back of
Right.
your eye, which is how you get color.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm
And
actually- I'm
there's
gonna-
different types.
I've actually fucked this because when I thought of this amazing poetry, I was actually thinking of cameras, not eyes. I'm that much of a film student that I got the workings of eyes mixed up with cameras. I don't know what's
I
wrong with
feel
me. So
You mean
cameras,
lenses for
No, it
cameras?
still makes
Is
sense.
that what you mean? Lenses for
you
cameras.
know, like the sensors guess the color. Isn't that like the case? So, so the ear devices that he has at the end, they're
Yeah,
guessing how close and how loud everything should be based on sonar. But it's not perfect to what it actually is in real life, right? That's why it's all distorted and everything. That's why he hears the bells so loudly, because it thinks that it's a lot closer than it is. But that's not how it is in real life. And that's the same with colors in camera, how digital cameras can't pick up real life colors. They're just kind of guessing based on light.
Well, on another note, Underground Railroad comes to Amazon Prime in 7 days on the 14th of May. I am quite excited. Another Barry Jenkins, a series this time rather than a film.
Barry
Has he done
Jenkins.
a series before?
Barry Jenkins, if you're listening, Tom is a super fan of yours and he
I
really
have-
wants your autograph. So please send it to our Instagram
Well,
page.
I've not stopped thinking about this series and since I saw the teasers. Yeah, can't help myself.
What's
It does-
the Underground Railroad?
Well, it's a book by.
Elspeth, have you not bumped
Well,
into
it's-
Tom recently?
I haven't been there for like a month.
Well, listen, it was a book based on a real thing in America with African Americans during slavery times. And then Barry Jenkins has adapted it for the screen into a series. And the teasers look, mwah, chef's kiss, absolutely incredible. And I've unfollowed the Twitter, and I've tried not to give myself any spoilers because I just want to go into it and be amazed. And I feel like I've got very high hopes, and I will be very disappointed if it doesn't live up to my expectations.
It says it all coming out on the 14th of May. I mean, it sounds interesting.
I think so. It's very Barry Jenkins, but also very good.
Who's Barry Jenkins? What
He
does
directed
do?
Moonlight.
Oh shit.
What else has he done?
Elspeth, you call yourself a film studies student, honestly. Oh
I
my
don't call
god.
myself anything.
Beale Street. What's that called?
Oh,
If
yeah, I know
Beale
the
Street
one
could
you mean.
talk.
Okay, I'll check it out then. It sounds interesting. It sounds really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, nice like film type camera work and
Yeah.
I mean, you think that the
Oh.
like,
crisp.
sorry.
Yeah, go on.
I was gonna say to Ben that like when I was doing interviews with him for my documentary, he thinks like TV is now on par with film anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I did
yeah,
say
in
that.
many aspects, yeah.
I
The
think-
music's also done by Nicholas Britell, who did Moonlight, If Beale Street Could Talk, and it just adds another element to the teasers that,
Yeah.
gives me goosebumps. Sorry, go on, Ben.
So I think I suppose this is for the audience. If you think that it's a good idea for us to do an episode talking about Underground Railroad, we could do an episode on it. Just go over to the Instagram. There should be a poll, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. If you get there in time,
find
if you've
out.
watched this episode within the first day that it's come out, then go over to the Instagram and look at the poll and click what you think. Well, should we start doing TV shows? Should we start doing the Underground Railroad as our first TV show review? Because we could do that
That
for you
that
if you want.
opens up a whole new broad aspect of episodes for
I'd be down.
you.
Do you wanna-
listeners.
Do you want to talk about TV briefly? Because I've been watching a shit ton of
so
TV
down.
recently, so much.
You watch a lot of TV.
You love TV though.
do love
I
TV.
feel like I never watch TV because I somehow see it as a bigger commitment.
I'm gonna
Like
go
unless I'm
through.
watching it really slowly. But you love TV.
I'm gonna go through my big recommendations for a TV that's come out recently. I've only got one.
I'm gonna go for my recommendation.
If you're within the age bracket of, let's say, 18, no, yeah, okay, 15 to 30, then you should watch
You...
Invincible. It's an animated
Oh
series
my god!
on
I
Amazon.
wanna watch...
It's so addictive. Honestly, it's so fucking good, and it's got like a Tarantino, like this new thing that Tarantino's been doing in his last two films, where he kind of leaves the violence up until the right at the very end, and it's all like tension. That's the first episode of Invincible, and the ending is so fucking insane, and you're like, holy shit. And I think that's a really good reason to watch it, but also it's just so addictive. It's so good. Elspeth's been holding her hand up since I started talking about it,
Okay.
and I'm gonna keep on speaking. Sorry, Elspeth.
It's fine.
But yeah, it's such a good show. It's so good because it captures like the animated shows that we used to watch when we were children, and it's got the same animation style, and it's by the makers of like The Boys and the makers of The Walking Dead. So it's got a really kind of addicted kind of creators behind it. It's just so good. Elspeth, you want to say something?
Yeah. Okay.
She did.
So
Does she want- oh.
you can go ahead, Tom. Don't
No,
worry
please do.
about it.
Please do.
Basically, I saw this because I have a bunch of like essays recently, but I saw this on Amazon and I want to check it out because, okay, I'm a bit of a comic nerd. That sounds so weird, but like the guy who wrote this is Robert Kirkman, who wrote the Walking Dead comics, which is so good. And basically, like, so then when I saw it, that's why it caught my eye, because the Invincible is supposed to be one of the best like superheroes set in like you know how like The Boys is like set in modern time.
Yeah.
It's like that. So that's why this caught my eye, and I was like, holy shit, like it's been made into a TV show, which is why I really want to see it, which is why it caught my eye. And I just wanted to like fangirl about the comics. I haven't read the comics, but apparently they're really, really fucking good as well.
It's such a good show. I haven't read the comics myself. I'm not a comic reader, but like I really recommend the show to anyone, to be fair. The main character's voiced by Steven Yeun, who was
Ooh.
I love that.
he's in Minari. He was in The Walking Dead. That's
He was
how
Glenn
the
in
connection.
The Walking Dead.
Yep. And the dad, who's a superhero, is voiced by J.K. Simmons, and it is possibly the most perfect fucking casting I've ever seen. If you start watching it and you kind of notice, there's so many cameos, like voice cameos, that you don't notice. The mum is voiced by Sandra Oh from Killing Eve. It's just like
Shut up.
it's a top tier cast. It is a top tier
That
cast.
sounds amazing.
It honestly,
I
and
love
it's
Sandra Oh and J.K.
it's fucking
Simmons
brilliant.
and Stephen. Yeah.
I can just imagine his gravelly voice already.
Oh, this is making me excited. I think I'm gonna watch it because I don't know that much about the comics, but it sounds so good. Also, Gillian Jacobs is in it.
and so is Mahershala Ali and Seth Rogen. It's just like star-studded as hell.
Jeez.
It is
Okay, Zachary
brilliant.
Quinto. Sorry, I got so excited. That's such a fucking.
Did you
good
watch
thing. Zachary
Heroes when you were
Quinto's
younger?
in it.
Did you watch Heroes?
I love fucking Heroes.
Yeah,
I
he was
love
fucking.
Heroes
He was
so
insane in
much.
that, wasn't he? He was so good in that,
He-
and then kind of dropped off the face of the planet a bit.
Well, he was in I know him as well from American Horror Story. He's been big in that. Like he
Oh,
used to
yeah.
be big around the time, but I was such a Heroes girl. Is it Mark Hamill's in it?
Yeah, sure.
I
yeah.
want to watch John. Okay, this is just me saying names. This is so boring. John Hamm's in it. I love John Hamm, but apparently he used to be a bully, and apparently he was in a frat, and he like one time hazed this guy to the point and like bullied this kid. Like apparently he's not a nice person. But anyway, so yeah, if you guys want us, this cast looks really good. If you guys want us to do stuff on TV show, and then we can do the Invincibles, and we can do the
Underground
great-
Railroad.
yeah. Let us know. It sounds really interesting and really fun.
I am going to round this episode up here. Thank you for listening. if you haven't watched Sound of Metal, it's a bit late. You've spoiled it for yourself, but go and watch it anyway. If you watched it and then came back to us, thank you very much, and we shall see you in the next episode. Goodbye.
Bye.
Adios.